And it's day one and you walking in there on the first day, man, you in there, man. But you feel something. It's right in here, man. And it's screaming and it's yelling and it's saying, release me. And it's saying, I am the number one determinant of the success or failure of my students. Hey, y'all, when you get back, kick some butt, and I'll see you in the winner's circle celebrating your victory. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! You got this! You got this! You got this! Thank you, everybody.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 215 of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got joining us today. We got Sharon Wright in the building. She says, greetings to myself and the Queen. I'm in LA, y'all. The Queen is in Jersey City. Thank you for that, Sharon Wright. Sharon Wright, she says she's oh, I see. I appreciate you on that too. Ricardo Giannis, my brother, Houston, Texas. Dr. Rachel Edelweckett from Maryland. She was my guest last week. What a session. If you didn't see it, you better go to YouTube and check that out later on, man. What a session. What a number of views. Rodney Richardson down in Hampton, Virginia. Grace Castaneda back in Kyle, Texas. Scott Wiley, Chester, VA. Constance Sherrod is in Pearl, Mississippi. Takesha High is in Virginia. Marsha Poe is in San Diego. I guess I'm near you, Marsha. I'm right here on the UCLA campus. Latanja J, she said good morning from Tennessee. Solomon Bazue Jr. Hey, Solomon, man, send me the phonetics one day. You know I butcher your name up all the time. Lysandra Brackens is here from North Carolina. Tashika Truesdale is in Atlanta. AP Patrick Lawrence is checking in. He's from Connecticut. It's good to be amongst royalty. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Lynette Wilson is here from North Carolina. Sherrod Laws said Hotep out there in Greenville, North Carolina. Dr. Demetrius Scott is in the building. Dr. Sheikah Houston, man, I missed y'all this morning. You, Tammy, Sean. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, Sheikah. You know, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, right? But I'm here, right? But hey, y'all, Sean Hurd every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, followed by Create and Educate, Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor, myself at 10:55, Josh Tovar Sunday night at 5 Eastern Time, PGP podcast. We got Yolanda McKinney in the building. September, Devon Vance Daniels in the building. Dr. Rella Hicks down in Augusta. I see you, Josh. MPA Jaguars. Buenos dias, back at you. Stacey L. Joy. Guess we in the same place this morning. Good to see you always. Dot McKeever Jeter. Principal Dot McKeever Jeter in the building. There's the Queen. The Queen of, not this castle, man. This just the hotel room, baby. Right? But the Queen is in the building. I see you about 11 o'clock tonight. Jacqueline Harriet, Nova Scotia in the building. She's getting ready to make her return to the AP and New Principals Academy. I got this session coming up soon. I think it's real soon. It's just going to be Canadian leaders, you know, just leaders from Canada that I know. And we're gonna be talking about some stuff, not just from Ontario either. They kind of spread out throughout the country. We got James Wilburn down in Denton, Texas. I'm getting ready to shut it down, y'all, so we can get it started. We got Melissa Jones Chunu, man. She's doing big things, man. She did the big speaking engagement the other day. You know, I saw you. Yeah, she did the big speaking engagement the other day. She's doing big things. She's growing. She's soaring. So keep your eye on Melissa Jones Chunu out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Lisa DeBose Walker's in the building. Sandra Krause Ayers is in the building. Central Hicks, I see you. He's in the building. Let me see what you said here. Central Texas Area Alliance of Black School Educators. I love it. I love it. I've been a member of NABC since I was a teacher back in the 90s, right? I'm getting ready to shut it down. I'm gonna end with this Jersey homie I see right here. Edwin Garcia is in the building. He's from Passaic. Good to see you, good brother. And I'm not even gonna look for for any more Jersey cats. You all I needed. I just needed that one Jersey, and now we here. So y'all, I can't. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in LA. I'm in a hotel. I'm on the UCLA campus. I'm not gonna do no yelling here as I greet you. Let me just say it like this: Good morning, man. That feels crazy. Greetings. Welcome to week 215 of the AP and New Principals Academy. And let me tell y'all, man, I know that folks are winding down. Those of you in those districts that go August to May, you're done, right? You done. But, folks like, sometimes the people in those districts can't relate to the ones like where I'm from in Jersey and New York. They ain't nowhere near done. Ain't nowhere near done. Some of them districts go to the last week of June, but they start up in September. I could never work in a district that goes August to May. I just can't do it, man. I can't imagine being at work, on regular school days and it's August. I cannot imagine that, right? So, but anyway, I will let you know this. I'm on fire. Please know that. Do know that. But I can't express it the way I want to express it because the front desk will be calling me to ask if there's a fire here, and if not, why are you making so much noise, given that there are probably people who are sleeping because we are in Los Angeles, right? So just know that I'm on fire, and I hope for you all out there that you're blazing with me, right? That you got that fire, right? So with that being said, let me jump into my announcements here. I got some shout outs, man, on this 8th day of June. Shout out to my son Baruti. Birthday yesterday. Turned 34. If my son is 34, that means I'm old, man. But 30, my wife probably said, wait a minute now. I ain't claiming that, right? So yeah, but shout out to him if he sees this, if he's on. Sometime he's on, usually when I'm home though. But also shout out to Newark Public Schools East Central School Leadership Team Vice Principals. Oh man, I spent the whole morning with a room full of VPs in Newark. They call them VPs there as opposed to APs. And we just had a solid morning, a strong morning. That was earlier in the week. And then moving on, shout out to Stafford County Public Schools leadership in Stafford, Virginia. Shout out to Spotsylvania County Public Schools leadership in Spotsylvania, Virginia. And shout out to Fredericksburg City Public Schools in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Man, I've been running. I've been rocking all week. And I ain't finished. Shout out to the Milken Educator Awards. The Milken Family Foundation, which is why I'm here in LA. We do an annual forum for the new Milken Educator Award recipients. And, I received the Milken in 2009, December 1st, 2009. And they've been inviting me to come back and deliver a keynote address every year since then. So, that's a blessing for me. I'm deeply honored that they see after all these years, I'm still relevant to come back and speak to the new class of Milken recipients. And that, the total number now is like over 3,000 people who have received the Milken Award. So I was one of that 3,000, just doing my job every day. And somehow these folks out here found me in Newark, New Jersey, and said, we want to bless you with one of the highest awards in education. It's known as the Oscar of Education, and blessed me with that in a surprise assembly. And I wear it on my sleeve. I'm a Milken recipient, right? So good to be here. Shout out to the Milken. Shout out to Lowell Milken, who's the founder of the Milken Educator Award. Welcome to the first timers. If this is in fact your first time, that means you've missed 214 sessions. So you got to go to the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube at AP and New Principals Academy. Hit the subscribe button and binge watch it. But let me say that one more time. No, two more times. Hit subscribe. One more time. Hit subscribe. We got 21,200 members. That's a blessing for me. That's a whole lot of people, but I still wanted to grow, right? So hit the subscribe button and become a member, and then you're part of the family. And then you just watch them all. Watch all the titles. Look at the titles. See what's relevant. Look at some of the people we've had on. We had all superstars, including today, and you want to check that out. School Leadership Institute is around the corner now, July 9 and 10. Join me in Houston. 2 big days. We're talking leadership all day, every day, 9 to 4, with my theme being, what is my value to the teachers that I supervise instructionally? That's the book I just finished writing last week. And that's going to be my theme for the 2 days that I'm in Houston. So come on to Houston at the School Leadership Institute. Go to principalkafele.com, scroll down to the announcements portion, click the link, and then it'll take you to the registration page, register. And I'll see you in Houston for 2 days, 2 big days, talking leadership, man. It's going to be fun. We've been doing this every year for, I don't even know how many years. Just every year we do this in a different city. And this time we're in Houston. We were in Charlotte last year. And then come back to Houston the week after to the Black Educators Rock Conference, July 18 through 21. It's too many names to list. Just everybody to somebody. Black educators will be there. So just be there. I'll be there. I'll be there on the 20th and 21st. We do a big gala on the 20th. I'll be there for that. And then on the 21st, I do a leadership all day session, 9 to 3. So come on and join me for that as well, right? My books, I didn't bring any, but you go to Amazon, the Assistant Principal 50, the Aspiring Principal 50, the Assistant Principal Identity, the Principal 50 is my school, a better school because I lead it. You can get them all on Amazon. So make sure you check those out. Get yourself a copy. Do yourself a favor. Good information, good content to take your leadership game to the next level. And be sure to like and follow the AP and New Principals Academy Facebook page. I haven't done a thing with it in about a month now, but I will. So make sure you like and follow that page. We got 10,000 people that do follow. So be that 10,000 in first person. And then lastly, before I bring up my guest, my monologue, right? Let me go through this a little bit. Folks, my days are all screwed up now. I guess it was Wednesday night. I was supposed to fly to Virginia. Yeah, Wednesday night. And I get to the airport. When I left home, the flight was on time. When I got to the airport, the flight was canceled. And I had to be in, the flight was to Ronald Reagan, DCA in Washington, D.C. But and then I'll have to drive to Stafford, Virginia, about, I don't know, maybe a half hour, I don't know, whatever it was. So anyway, the flight was canceled. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just see if I can get a later flight. So there were flights, but there were no rental cars when I got there. And I spoke in 2 districts that day, so I wasn't going to be doing all that Uber like that. So I made the drive. Newark had cars, Washington didn't. So I made the drive, and a storm started when I got to Maryland. And when I say a storm, it was tornadoes all over the place, right? So I'm getting all these alerts. Get off the road if you're on the road. Seek shelter immediately. Get to a basement. I'm like, oh my God, I ain't never been near a tornado in my life. I'm in Jersey. We don't have tornadoes here too much, right? Especially where I live in the urban parts. So I'm like, where am I going to go? I'm on this highway. I can't get off because it's traffic and all that kind of stuff. I'm stuck. I couldn't see. Nobody could see. The rain was that torrential. We could not see. I guess I could just faintly see the white line, right? But it was so faint. So it's just coming down like buckets. I mean, so hard. I feel like the roof of the car is going to cave in. That's how hard it was coming down. So here's my point as a monologue. I'm in a storm, y'all. I'm in a storm. And according to the text messages, the alerts, I should say, I was in a life-threatening storm. Keep that in mind. But you know something, as I finished praying, I said, okay, but outside of the prayer, what can I do? And I came up with something. Just stay focused. That's it. Just stay focused. And that's what I did. I said, I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. Well, obviously, I got through the storm. I'm here talking to you. Hit that share button, hit that retweet, hit that repost, tag somebody. So now What's that got to do with you? Everything. I bet you everybody on this call live right now, and everybody who will watch the video later, I bet you at some point within the last month, you went through some kind of a storm. It may have been a major storm. It may have been a mini storm. It may have been a medium storm, but you've been through something. It could have been your professional life. It could have been your personal life, but you've been through something. And I'm saying to you, once you've exhausted your options, which is what I did in that car, that truck I was in. Once you've exhausted your options, all you got left is this one. Stay focused. Because if the storm becomes your focus, then how do you simultaneously focus on what matters most? You can't lose your focus. So I'm in this storm, but I want to get to the other side of the storm that night. I want to get to Virginia because it wasn't a storm there. So let me stay focused, drive properly, not try to speed, not try to swerve into some fast lane and all that. Stay in that right lane and stay focused. Hey, somebody out there, I feel your energy. Somebody out there lost your focus. I feel it. You lost focus and you got all distracted with the BS. I know it. So you were fully immersed in some crap, right? That ain't how to get it done, though. If it has to be addressed, then address it. But don't let the mess be your focus. Your focus is right here. And if we're talking about school leadership, that is your focus. The children are your focus. The staff is your focus. But that mess is always going to come. If you in school leadership, better yet, if you just live life, it's going to be storms. Storms just come into the land of the living. That's what happens. But the question is how you going to respond to it. And I'm going to say it one more time. Stay focused. That's my monologue. I got guests today, y'all, and I'm getting ready to bring them on up here too. Let me get my guest up here. I'm going to change that background as I always forget. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's
stay focused.
Gotta keep that focus, man.
Let
me do this again, man. I'm bugging. Here we go. All right. Man, it's good to see y'all. We got Kobie the Wiz.
Yes.
Some of y'all know him as Kobie Wilkerson, but he is AKA L. Kobie the Wiz. And we got the good doctor, Dr. Christine Gibson, Cincinnati's own.
Hey.
Christine's Big Hair, the series.
Yes.
The author is in the building.
Appreciate it.
Oh, man, I appreciate both of y'all. Hey, y'all, you better tell somebody that we're here. Hit the share button, hit the retweet button, hit the repost, tag somebody, hit them Facebook leadership groups up, and let folks know that we are here. I want to share with you all who's in the building through their bios. So let me go through these quickly. Dr. Christine Gibson is an educator, innovative thinker, education coach, and children's book author with a passion for teaching and enhancing the education process through specialized curricula and individualized instruction. Her early career includes roles as a Head Start teacher and lead teacher in a child care program. She holds degrees in early childhood education and liberal studies and a master's in multicultural special education. In 2020, she earned her PhD in education. Dr. Gibson is the founder and CEO of Continuous Growth Educational Services, LLC. She also serves as Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Dream Builders University, where she has developed professional development plans, curriculums, teacher guides. Additionally, she has authored and published a children's book series titled Christine's Big Hair Adventures. We're going to talk about that, which focuses on the 5 social emotional learning competencies. Dr. Gibson believes that if children understood their greatness and unique talents, they would be unstoppable on their journey to success. She resides in Cincinnati. Hey, y'all, I want to read that last line one more time. Dr. Gibson believes that if children understood their greatness and unique talents, they would be unstoppable on their journey to success. I read that again because I think, and this is just me, I think that line, it epitomizes what we do, right? The totality of what we do. If we're in position, if we have the skill set to convince youngster of who you are, your greatness, game over,
Game
right?
over.
And that's the challenge because of the distractions, right? So that's why I say, then stay focused. So if you and I can, I know I ain't supposed to be on here lecturing now. If you and I can convince young people to stay focused, like put that as your number one priority, I gotta teach them how to be focused. You can't just say be focused. You gotta teach them what that looks like.
That's right.
Because they may not know. They may think that their life, living the distractions, is the focus. Like I'm all focused right now because I'm supposed to read biographies, right? So that's how that works.
It's your show, bro. You got the freedom. You got the freedom.
O'clock in the morning, right? So
This is the platform to go off.
That's it. That's it. Go out.
yeah.
Go out.
I mean, it wouldn't be normal if I didn't do that, right? People like,
Right.
man, they must be tired today, right? We got Kobie Wilkerson in the building. L. Kobie Wilkerson, aka L. Kobie the Wiz, and that's the Wiz, not the Wiz, right? The Wiz. There's a difference.
There
It's
is.
a big difference. It's a fundamental difference, right? So here we go. As an award-winning author, poet, speaker, presenter, storyteller, edutainer, master teacher, and powerful transformer of schools and organizations. He ingeniously converts resistance to change into receptiveness for growth. He is a leading authority on helping schools and organizations cultivate relationships that support a healthy culture and climate. Kobie works with schools and organizations where it is a goal to see them systematically operate at their best so they can effectively impact those they serve. Passionate about continuous growth, he decided to pursue education to shape and mold the values of children by inspiring them to love knowledge and to be lifelong learners. Mr. Wilkerson has a BA in education, a BS in sociology from Kentucky State University. He obtained his master's in education administration from Kansas State University. He's a graduate of the Les Brown Speaker Training Program and was also selected as a South Carolina Educational Fellow, Policy Fellow, a program of the Institute for Educational Leadership out of Washington, D.C. For many, many years, I kept saying, I'm going to go to one of them Les Brown weekend boot camps, and I never made it. But I'll tell you another thing about him later in the program. Kobie has taught in Topeka, Kansas, and Cincinnati, Ohio, where he was born and raised. During his time in Cincinnati, he founded it's John and May, right?
Giame.
Yeah, say that one more time.
Giame.
Giame.
Good name.
I know it's celebrated during that Thanksgiving season, but somewhere along the way over the years, I lost the pronunciation. Summer camp that focuses on reading, writing, and critical thinking skills. He is presented in South Africa and most recently participated in a Kenyan delegation put together by Utengo, whose goal is strengthening impoverished Christian churches and schools so that they become places of healing and restoration for Kenyan youth. And finally, Kobie serves as chief consultant of the Love to Learn educational group and Love to Learn Music, where they work to empower teachers to engage students to transform our world through literacy and music. He's also president of Love to Learn Books and CEO president of the newly founded Love to Learn Foundation. Kobie has a passion for relationships and personal development and a sincere desire to see all who he comes in contact with become their very best. Great stuff. Let's jump into it, y'all. Hey, folks, to the fam out there, we're ready. Hit that share button, hit the retweet. I see the numbers looking good with the 3 platforms, but let's take it up even higher. Hit the share button, tag somebody, call somebody, tell them you need to put down whatever you're doing and lock in at the AP and New Principals Academy. You know, Christine, I met you in Cincinnati.
Mhm.
in the district. I was there for, I think I was there for a week or 4 days, and you were there for one of those days. And as I told you in person, I was extremely impressed by all of your input in the conversation. And we have known each other ever since, right? That one day you're the only person in that room that I sustained a relationship with that I know of. Well, Michael Benton as well, but I didn't meet Michael Benton in that room.
Right.
But you're the only person that I just, we sustained a friendship because you were so impressive that day. And I want to ask you,
Okay.
as an educator,
Okay.
who is Dr. Christine Gibson?
That's a great question. So Dr. Christine Gibson is not who she used to be. Let's start there.
Mm,
So Dr. Christine Gibson, I'm glad you asked this question because this is where I really want I tell this story to the young girls and the people who I talk to, that my story shows that it is possible.
mm,
So I grew up in Reed Valley View Manor for those who lived in Cincinnati. And at the time, I had no clue I lived in the hood. It wasn't until I grew up and went back and visited. I'm like, this is where I used to live. Had no clue. Because when you grow up, home is home.
yeah,
And I was definitely loved. So my mom was an educator. So education, the emphasis on education was always there. I never got a summer off. Like, even if we went outside to play, she had work for us to do. So education and learning was always the head placed high in my household. Okay. The emphasis was a high level. Growing up, I was dark skinned. Okay. I was very dark. Right now, I'm a chocolate something. So, but as I was growing up, that wasn't cool. So, my journey, I had to learn to be okay with myself, my identity. One, I didn't identify with myself as something that was positive growing up. I had my parents in the picture, of course, my mom and my dad. Um, I thought that when they told me things like, girl, you're beautiful, or this, that was something that was supposed to be said. But the outside noise was much louder than the inside noise inside my house. Because when I left my house, that's when the distractions came
yeah,
and the opinions came. And so my journey to who I have become, when I learned to emancipate, the process of freeing myself from these constructs that society has placed and be who I was called to be, it was when I met people and I had to understand that I'm okay, had to learn to be okay with me. I met great people in my life. Kobie's one of them,
yeah,
Kobie is like a mentor to me. He put me on certain positions and places, but those people who are able to speak life into me on my journey. And so I came up not having confidence as I should,
yeah,
being a confident Black female, that I could tell my story, that I grew up in the projects and now I got a PhD.
PhD.
So it is possible.
Yeah,
So I would say that Dr. Christine Gibson is a journey. It was a journey and it continues to be a journey in becoming the best version of me. You know, I had a best version of me back then. I just didn't know it.
yeah,
So that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I know the youth, they're brilliant.
Mhm.
They're brilliant.
yeah,
And they just need that influence. They need that guidance. They need those people in their life to speak into them, to help them develop what's already there. So I was developed
yeah,
into Dr. Christine Gibson. And it wasn't just one person. It was my family, my circle, the people who I consider friends, who gave me that constructive criticism, and I had to learn to accept it. And I had to learn to unlearn so many things that were not right, that I grew up with these concepts in my life, and be okay with stepping away from things that were not positive or impacting me in a way that I push forward. You know, my little brother, Mr. Ward, I always say, whoever has your ear has your destiny.
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
You know, I had to learn that everybody can't talk to me. I can't entertain everything, you know, and and those are the distractions.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to finish strong. And I'm not even done yet. I have so many other things that I haven't planned for myself that I'm excited about. And one of them is being here with you, Dr. Principal Kafele. I couldn't wait to get on the show.
Oh, no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You know, I'm gonna stay with you for a little bit, Kobie. I'm gonna come to you. I want you to feel free to jump in on this, but any of my guests that have doctorates, I call them doctor on the platform as opposed to calling you Christine, because I want your doctorate to inspire somebody out there that put the dissertation down or put the studies down because they felt distracted or they felt overwhelmed. So I want to keep calling you doctor to remind them I still got work to do. Right. So the two of you feel free to jump in on each other's questions at any time. It doesn't matter. I want to stay with you, Doc. You know, I had no intentions on talking about skin complexion until you brought that up. So it's not in my notes. But since you brought it up, I want to go there now. You know, I've been out here in these speaker streets for a long time, and I meet a lot of people. But a lot of the people that I meet, some of the people that I meet are very dark-skinned women, right? So they'll come up to me and tell me, you know, I read the books, I'm inspired, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I'll say to them, if I feel comfortable with it, I say, you know, your complexion is noticeable to me relative to who I am, right? The work that I do, the history that I know, right? I say, talk to me about little girl you in the skin you're in right now. What was that experience? If I could put a percentage on it, I would say 90% of those women will start tearing up before they start talking to me, right? And then they'll go on and they'll tell me what that was. I have to believe that there's a percentage of people who are watching us live right now that do not understand what I just said to you. I have to believe that. Can you break that down?
I can.
Okay.
Let's start. This is my journey. I can't speak for everyone else. Okay. So that's my disclaimer. Growing up with dark skin, my household was dark skinned. However, my circle wasn't dark skinned. My family people and the people who were around me, like aside from my immediate family. So I would go out of town as a young girl and spend the night over my grandma's house and my cousin's house in like Fort Wayne, Indiana. That was our space. Okay. And we would meet people, and as I would say around, I'm gonna start from 5. At 5 years old, I thought I had a little boyfriend in a complex in the Reed Valley View Manor. And he was the first person who told me that you so cute, but you dark. And so that stuck with me because I had never heard that before. I think I was around 5 when and you know, you remember something when it hit you that hard at 5 years old. So growing up, you know, I get a little bit older, maybe about 9 or 10. I go to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm playing with my cousins because that's where we were on the weekends, because we migrated from there to Cincinnati, Ohio. And I would hear all the time, well, you would be cute if you weren't so dark. And I'm like, oh. So that resonated with me. Like it started to stick in my soul. So everywhere I went, I was conscious that I was the dark girl in the room. And so if we could fast forward to even being in junior high school, where I felt like the progression was happening, I was okay, getting a little bit better, a little bit comfortable, but those words were still ringing loud because I still were hearing them. Even when I got to my first college experiences, it was, oh, you cute to be that dark. So that was my life growing up. You cute to be that dark. So I always had a complex of being dark. And on top of being dark, I have a very ethnic look about me. I have a nose, right? And so my mom would always say, this is the nose God gave you, and you gotta love it because it makes you you. And I always thought she said that because she was my mother, no more, no less. So growing up I heard I was dark all the time. I would be much cuter if I was light. Then I had to wear glasses because I couldn't see very well. So that was a whammy on top of being dark. Then I had a complex about my nose because they would call me names and I would cry. Principal Kafele and Kobie, I would be in tears by the time I got off the bus most days because of all the mean things that were said or all the questions that were asked. One of the biggest experiences that I had that really, really taught me now that I'm older that you have to be comfortable with who you are. I was in, my mom put me in Girl Scouts and I was the only Black girl. Not only was the only Black girl, I was the only chocolate person there. And so the things they would ask me, like you go swimming, my hair would draw up. Why does your hair get little? You know, why do you have braids like that? Why are you so dark? Why don't you put that net spray in your hair? The stuff that they were spraying. And so this was my life growing up. So by the time I would say my feelings, I'll say this, my feelings were hurt very often. I was not confident in who I was.
Right.
It wasn't until probably in my 20s, and that's a long time from when you're little.
Sure.
I felt, I don't know what hit me, but one day I was like, you're beautiful. And you got this. And I just spoke life into myself and I just kept doing it. And I just kept doing it. And I kept doing it to the point where I felt freer. And I didn't feel confined by the barriers of those words that had haunted me all my life.
Yeah.
One of the biggest lies we were taught growing up was sticks and stones may break your bones, but words may never hurt you. I remember words people told me to this day, and I'm still learning to emancipate myself from those words. So it was a tough, and it was more mental than anything. It wasn't like people were beating me up or thing, but I felt like that I was injured in the inside.
Yes.
I needed healing.
Yeah.
And so I walked around at a young age, not knowing my self-worth, and it hurt. And in the inside, I felt sick a lot of days. I didn't want to go to places because even though I had a cute outfit, I always felt like I'm not really going to fit in because I'm going to be dark. You know, I don't want to be the dark girl. I even had thoughts growing up like, how can I get lighter so I can eat? That's bad when you really want to change who you are from the physical standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I could get some makeup. You know, you start thinking of all kinds of bleaching. Like, do they bleach? I don't know. Just trying to figure out how I can fit in so that when I do maneuver through life, I can be accepted. When the whole time I just didn't free myself to accept myself.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's the key, right? We live life from inside out, right? And so that is what often happens is we try to change the outside, thinking the outside is going to be able to fix and get us where we need to be, where it's really the inside that we have to get right, right? The sticks and stones, right? Will break your bones, but words will place, right? Seeds in your spirit that live forever.
Yes,
so that is what we talk about when I talk to educators, that your words matter.
They matter.
What you speak, the words that you speak to yourself are the ones that matter most.
They matter immeasurably. You know something, and I'm gonna go to you, Kobie, in a second. I just want to express this. You know, as a teacher, and you know, I did well as a teacher. I probably did better as a teacher than I did as a leader. But I didn't always share with people the details, the specificity of what I was doing to get students to achieve at high levels. But in this conversation we're in right now, and with me having the background in history that I have, right, African-American history, self-taught, I should say, you know, so therefore that became a part of my repertoire because I got Christine Gibsons all over the classroom.
Amen.
Right. And they're not just my girls.
Right.
They're my boys. So now because of my passion for the history, and I taught fifth graders. So let me introduce them to Mother Africa.
That's right.
Let me introduce them to what this thing called mental enslavement means, right? So that now they can take that language, mental slavery, mental enslavement, and they can articulate that, right? Like now I understand. I've been taught to be ashamed of or to hate my dark skin, my black skin. That's part of the design. That's part of the game. So let me diffuse all that and let me show you, no, that's black gold you got. But you don't understand that because it hasn't been taught to you. So imagine when that youngster has that teacher, this bold enough to engage them in that conversation on a regular basis, so that as that youngster is going through the years and dealing with folks that don't have that same teacher, like a Mr. Kafele, that they can maneuver through that, and ultimately as adults, I'm proud of who I am, right? And my teacher made that very clear. I remember we had a sizable Haitian population in East Orange. So they really caught hell, right? So now because of my understanding of history, I sit the class down and we'll do a whole lesson on the Haitian Revolution, right? So that they have understanding. Let me tell you who these children are, who they're descendants of, who you feel you need to make fun of.
Right.
That changed everything, man. So I guess my point is, when that teacher has a particular knowledge base,
That's right.
you're able to address things that's not in that undergrad curriculum.
100%.
Intentional.
Yeah.
Intentional.
Yeah, that's it. I love it. Hey, Kobie, I've known you for a long time.
Long time, man. Like
We grow in this business.
we go way back.
Yeah.
We've been doing this before it was popular.
Yeah. Now, hey, everybody
want to do it. You know, everybody
in this circuit, man. Yeah. So just to take back from your bio, I said I've admired you for, as we were talking off mic, for your versatility. From afar, as an award-winning poet, speaker, presenter, storyteller, edutainer, master teacher, powerful transformer of schools and organizations. With all that said, I want to ask you the same question that I asked Christine, and I'm gonna take myself off the screen for a second to turn this AC back up, and so don't think I left. As an educator, then, with your versatility, with your wide range, your wide net, who is Kobie the Wiz, Kobie Wilkerson?
Well, L. Kobie the Wiz is a person who believes in the best of people. I believe that there is greatness in all of us. I believe that that people don't often know how to pull what is inside of them out. And so who I am is an inspiration. I try to be a motivator, a teacher, but more than anything is a guide, right? So, people are like, well, why are you L. Kobie the Wiz? And I'm like, well, you've seen The Wizard of Oz, right? I said, and Dorothy's on a journey. I said, just like most people. I said, but when they get to the Wiz, what the Wiz lets them know, right? She picks up people on her journey, right? She hits the Tin Man and then the Scarecrow and the Lion. And they're all looking for something, right? That they think is going to make them better. And when they get to the Wiz lets them know that what you're looking for
It's already there the whole time.
You just didn't see it. And so that is who I am. I am an unveiler. I am an awakener. I help people to see that which they may not see. That is the work that I do, and to get people excited about life, and help people to see to learn their lessons. That's the tagline. Like, learn your lessons. Like, life is always teaching you.
Always.
But are you learning?
Yeah.
Right. And then are you understanding? And that's the goal. So who I am, that wraps it up, man. I am a guide and an awakener on the journey of getting people to see who they are and who they can be.
Yeah. Talk to us about two things: your passion for this work and how you sustain it. And the reason I would ask you that is because this is a leadership audience.
That's right.
And it's easy to lose that passion. It's easy to have it on the one hand, but to lose it and not be able to sustain it because of the challenges that are coming from so many different directions. So within your work, talk to us about your passion, how you have sustained it for so long. But this part B, talk to us about your passion for entrepreneurship. I'm always talking about I'm willing to bet, I surmise, all this kind of thing. I know that there are a lot of people on this call right now that would like to expand upon their horizons and get out here and do a little speaking. Maybe not do it full time, but it could be some people that do want to do it full time. But talk to us about your passion for entrepreneurship as a presenter, in addition to your passion for this work and sustaining it.
Well, it's I got started doing this work. I don't know if many people know the journey, but I'm a former kindergarten and first grade teacher.
Yeah.
And so when I was teaching, I taught in Cincinnati from Ohio. Like, I'm born and raised in the nasty natty, you know what I'm saying, with the Clifton Elementary, Roseline, graduate of Walnut Hills High School, lived in North Avondale. So that's my hood, you know what I mean? And my mom was a teacher. And so I originally was not trying to go into education. I originally wanted to be a pediatrician. I knew that when I was a kid that I was going to be working with kids. Like, I knew that very early on. And I realized that being a pediatrician, that I couldn't do what I wanted to do with kids being a pediatrician, right? So that's when I switched my major to education. And so when I taught in Cincinnati, I taught in the hood, kindergarten. And all my kids, when they left me, they were reading on a beginning second grade level. They all knew their multiplication tables to 12, place value to the trillions. So I left there, and then I went out to Kansas, got my master's teaching, ended up graduating and teaching in Topeka, Kansas, where I taught in Avondale East Elementary. And so I was born in North Avondale. And so I'm like, this must be a sign, you know what I mean? My principal there, Mr. Duke Palmer, how I ended up there, I asked him, I said, I have one request of you. And he said, what is that? When he was at the recruiting fair, I said, I need you to send me to the lowest performing elementary school in the district. And he said, I can absolutely do that because we don't get no requests for that. And he said, and I happen to be the principal of that school. So welcome to Avondale East Elementary.
Wow.
So when I got there, I said, I need you to give me the grade that you had the most issues with, the lowest performing. He said, well, we had a really tough group of kindergartners last year. And so they're all going to be in first grade. And I said, well, we were in a group meeting. I said, well, I need you to give me all the ones that you had the most problems with. The other first grade teacher said, you said it and you can't take it back, right? So I ended up with, more at 28, right? We had to get special permission from the district because I had more than 10 than the other two first grade teachers. And so at the end of the day, we took them from last to first in the district. All began reading on a beginning third grade level, all knew their multiplication tables to 12, place value to the trillions.
Yeah.
And so what sustains me, right, in that piece, we were in an administrative internship. Okay. I'm in Kansas. Okay. So it was 8 women and me. And so I made sure that I did what I needed to do. They said, we have 3 positions. It's 9 of y'all. It's not a competition, but it's a competition. Right. And so at the end of that, I just noticed a lot of gaps, man, a lot of gaps. And I sat down. We were in all these PDs that the assistant principals were going in. And then at the end, we had projects. We did all that. Long story short, at the end, she was like, Kobie, you outshined all the other ones. We got 3 positions. Which one of the ones would you like? And I told her, I said, I went down my list of things that I noticed. I said, before we do that, I've noticed some things. Went down my list. And at the end of sharing my list, what she said was pretty much, thanks for sharing, right? That we pretty much not going to do nothing about this, but thank you for sharing. Thank you for noticing. And so she said, now, which of those positions would you like? And at that moment, I said, you know what, I'm leaving. And she said, what is it? What's wrong? I said, I think my path is directing me somewhere else. And she was like, well, is it the money? Is it that you don't want one of those positions? I said, I just feel that what I'm going to be able to do or try to do, like, I'm going to be hindered. And at that moment, I saw that the change that I was going to try to make, I was going to be handcuffed. And I said, so I can't do what I'm trying to do within these realms. And so she said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go to Atlanta. I'm going to move. Because at that time, Atlanta was the #1 place for entrepreneurs, the #1 place for Black entrepreneurs, #1 place for business, and the #1 place for Black business, right? So I said, I'm going to go to Atlanta. And she said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to start my own educational consultant. She said, how are you going to do that? I said, I don't have any idea, but I'm going to figure it out. And she said, you know what? I bet you will, Mr. Wilkerson. And so that was 2004. That was 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
And so what keeps me passionate and how I ended up doing so many things is just like the parable of the talents, right? You start with one thing led to the other. So when I started, I just started doing music and storytelling, right? I had a passion. I wrote a book, Fred and Mary, about loving yourself. Yeah, and the affirmation, I love me, right? To get the words inside of you. So I started doing music and storytelling. Music and storytelling led to me going into doing model teaching. What I noticed was that a lot of teachers, they had never been under the tutelage of a master teacher. And so it's one thing to come in and talk about quality instruction. It's another thing to see somebody do it in your classroom with your kids, with what you would be tutoring. I picked up that, right? The model teaching led to the professional development, right? Now I started doing, PDs for teachers. And y'all, I got a shirt that I'm working on, right? And it's gonna say, you lose first, then you win, right? And so when I started doing PD, y'all, I was terrible. Like it was, people think like, oh, they see me now. Like you see where I am now. You sit in the PD with me now. Like when he coming back, that first one, it was trash. Like it was garbage. And people think they get into this thing and they just start winning. Like that's not this path. And entrepreneurship, like I can teach kids and I'm doing well. I'm gonna start doing PD for teachers. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Like, because let me tell you, I've been doing this work 20 years. And let me tell you who makes the worst students.
Teachers.
Okay? Because they are taught to know. And so it took me time, right, to be able to realize what I need to do to engage teachers in a real way. Because teachers I'm gonna do this PD. Like when I first started doing this, man, they come in, they had their papers, they be great. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. This is not that type of party. Like this is class. And so they don't even think about that. I'm like, now if your students were doing this while you were teaching, you will have a conniption fit. Right? How dare you? You know what I mean? And so I started doing teachers. Then that led me into the leadership development. And I started coaching assistant principals and principals. Because let me tell you what I found out in doing this work. People think that the position makes you a leader.
That part.
And it doesn't. You can be assigned a assistant principalship. You can be assigned a principalship and you have the position, but the position don't make you a leader.
Right.
Leadership makes you a leader.
That's right.
And leadership often is not taught. So they think, well, because I am the principal of this school, I am the assistant principal of this school, these people gonna listen to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way.
The influence that you think it does. It is simply the position. And so you have to lead people. In order to lead people, you have to be someone worth following.
Can I say something?
Come on, Christine, come on.
When I wrote my dissertation, I learned about inauthority and inauthority. That was part of my dissertation. So Shalom et al. I'm gonna reference that because I didn't make it up. So an in-authority leader is somebody who's placed in a leadership position and they're sanctioned to do the work. And authority has earned the respect and are credible in the work that they do. What in authority people should be mentored by an authority.
Come on.
But so what we find is we have so many people who've been placed in authority does not have an authoritative spirit or the wisdom or the experience at a high enough level to be effective and efficient in their positions. So then you trying to lead as an educational leader in in spaces where teachers and you are on the same level most of the time. And they smell it before you can even say anything.
Right. Because they think that you come in, you're supposed to be the boss. I'm in a position. You're gonna listen to me. You know? And that's not what
it is at all.
Right. There's a book. I'm a John Maxwell's speaker and trainer. There's a book called the 5 Levels of Leadership. It's worth your buy. It's worth it, right? Because you got in person and you got the personhood, right? And so, that is part of the piece. Principal Kafela, you asked, how am I to sustain? Like, I am an avid learner, and I am always trying to get better. And so ego cannot be part of your recipe for leadership, right? The moment that you start thinking that I'm just big and I'm bad and I know all this, that is the moment that you are going to get humbled. Right? I tell leaders and I tell teachers, and especially people in leadership, your job is not to be better than the people that you lead.
Right.
Now you may be, right? You may be better, but that's not your job. Your job is to be bigger than them. Right? Your patience has to be bigger. Your understanding has to be bigger. Your knowledge has to be bigger, right? Your example has to be bigger. So your job is not to be better than them. Your job is to be bigger than them. And it's a people thing, right? It comes from here and then out. And people try to lead from outside in. And that's not it.
And then there's this understanding that I don't have to, I'm the leader, but I don't have to be the smartest person in the room, right? Because if we want to distinguish leader from leadership, okay, so I happen to be that one in that leader role, but my leadership means I got synergy here now. I got other people who can do things that I can't necessarily do at the capacity that they could, right? It's building that team. And as I always say, when I walk into a school, I want to be able to see the leadership without having to see the leader. The leader could be at a conference somewhere. I don't need you in the building when I visit. I want to see what it is that you've put in place, that your presence is felt throughout that building, every classroom. I was in a school the other day, which I won't name. I won't even tell you what week it was. But I was in a school at some point not too long ago. And I went into the men's room with graffiti galore. I said, oh, that speaks volumes about this principal. Yep. So, because see, on the one hand, I'm not going to have graffiti in the building. That's number one. But number two, I got guests coming, and I got graffiti in my bathroom. That's a reflection of my leadership. Right. So let's go. We got a whole lot on here. I'm going back up to you, Christina.
Okay.
I'm not Christina, Dr. Christine, but Dr. Gibson. I'm bugging. I'm tired, y'all. I'm sleep deprived. Dr. Gibson, you have this bachelor's degree in early childhood education. That's a very important degree to have, right? I'll tell folks in a minute. The college professor, particularly the ones who are well known and respected and written all these books, and they get all these accolades. And I always say, I get it, but you're not as important as that early childhood educator, because in order for that student to get to you, they got to go through that early childhood educator.
Right.
And then the question becomes, was that early childhood educator successful with that youngster? Because if I'm not successful with that pre-K to 3, then educational life may be miserable from 3 to whenever, however long I stay in school.
Mhm.
So it's significant. So I wanted to ask you, talk to us about the correlation between the quality of the early childhood teacher and the experience of being a student of said teacher.
Okay. The quality, first of all, the quality of an early childhood educator should be at a very high level. One, because you are teaching the foundation of life almost. That person needs to be super intentional about everything they do. Because one thing you know about early child education is the brain is developing so fast, so quickly. So they're sucking in the babies, the youth, they're sucking in everything that you're giving them. And so you have to be intentional about what you're giving out and putting out in that space. That's the time where identity matters.
Come on.
Identity matters. And so part of the curriculum, which I argue till I turn light skinned, if that's possible.
Keep the dark skin. Keep the dark skin. We love it.
How long I argue this is that when we choose these curricula
Mhm.
in these spaces,
Mhm.
we have to have people in this thing that looks like our babies,
That's right.
because we have to show them that it is possible.
Mhm.
I didn't see people that look like me in high level positions growing up.
Yes.
Everybody looked one color and one sided.
That's it. That's the reason why I went in.
And so, as an early childhood educator, it is within my soul to present what anybody who in any type of role can look like, and that it is possible. So a lot of times we get people who want to save the world, but they don't know how to save themselves in
Come
these
on.
positions. So we have a lot of misconceptions going on and foundational skills that are warped that they're teaching these babies. And a lot of time these people come and we talk about John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. They don't earn permission from these.
That's right. That's the permission.
They don't even influence them. They have these positions because you got the job.
Come on.
You got the job as an early childhood educator, but are you an educator? Are you willing? That's a heavy carry. That's a heavy load. To know that I am your first teacher aside from your household.
Mhm.
I am the one that is responsible for you being successful. From K to 3, you learn to read. From 3 on, you read to learn. So by the time they enter the 3rd grade, the expectation is you're gaining information from what you're reading, and you're able to express it or answer questions at a high level or beginning at high level. However, if you have never been taught critical thinking skills, you've never been uh, your identity has never been on what's the word I'm looking for? You've never been nobody has ever told you, I'm saying in layman's terms, nobody has ever told you your identity matters, your voice matters.
Mhm.
Any of this growing up, all you're learning is about other people.
Mhm. Yeah.
At some point, you have to learn your greatness in the process of growing into greatness. And so, an early childhood educator, I forgot the second part of your question, but the importance of an early childhood educator is noteworthy. They have to be, and so I think personally they should be screened before they get in front of these babies, because there should be nobody ruining lives on purpose.
Well, that's the piece, right? It's a people thing.
It is.
The problem that we have in education is a people problem.
Yes.
Schools aren't failing kids, people are. And that's the bigger problem, is that the people are not the people that they need to be. And until we in leadership start doing work on the people, then things will not change. That's part of the work that, you know, I do when I come in.
Mhm.
I do a whole protocol on who are you,
Yep.
right? Who are you? Because at the end of the day, I don't care what curriculum you have.
That's
The
right.
biggest and the most important part of any curriculum that we are delivering is the person who is delivering the curriculum.
Yeah.
Because as Principal Kofele stated earlier, what you're giving them is a piece of you,
That's
right?
right.
Because he was passionate about the history. Like, that's what you give. You're giving them a piece of you. And so the question, right, that we have to ask, which is one of the questions I ask, are the pieces of you worth giving out?
Yeah.
And also, as an early childhood educator, one of the biggest themes they had coming in, and Kobie, you probably noticed, is all about me. That's usually how they come into the school year. They want, hey, let's learn all about me. So as an early childhood educator, you got these young minds coming in, and they're just spitting out, they telling you everything that they've learned.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know if this is really resonates with them. All they know is what they've been taught at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, well, I know that our job as early childhood educator is to help them identify who they are.
That's right.
Within that realm, in those spaces, so that as they grow, they know that their voices matter.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody know matter makes a difference. Everybody wants to matter.
That's it.
Everybody wants to matter.
Yeah.
So let me throw this in. I'm gonna throw this at you, Dr. Gibson, but you feel free to jump in as well, Kobie. So because you talked about identity, Dr. Gibson, and young people having the opportunity to develop that sense of self-identity, self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look at it in terms of who's in these classrooms.
Okay.
Black children, black teachers. I'm sorry, white teachers are about 80% of the total teaching force in America, with them being predominantly white women.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Black women are between 6 and 7%, and black men are about 1.3%. Right. So now here's this teacher who grew up, well, since the both of you from Cincinnati, who grew up in a section of Cincinnati. I can't name the section because I don't know Cincinnati like that, but grew up in a suburb of Cincinnati where you'll see very few black people, if any.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now it's a little girl, and she's living her life according to how she's being raised.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes on to elementary, middle, high school, and then she goes to college. And while going to college, she decides, I want to study education. I want to be a teacher. Okay, so she studies education. She's a pre-service teacher, and ultimately she's ready to work. She said, I want to work in Cincinnati because this is where I'm from. But I think I have something to offer in the urban schools,
Mm-hmm.
where the African-American children are, and the African-American Latino children are, right? So I go down there, and ultimately I get a job there. I get a job there, I should say. That was my desire. So now I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
But through my life, I didn't have intimate familiarity with black people.
Right.
I saw them in passing, at the Bengals game, right? And on television, which I know you
on the way down there,
a lot of them, right? So who they, right? So I see black folks in passing, but I don't know black people intimately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden, I'm this first, second grade teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time in my 23, 24 years of life, I'm with black people over a sustained period of time. But these black people that I'm around are second graders,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this identity that you speak of hasn't been developed yet to where we wanted to be. And now I've got a teacher that has no clue who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask a question. I'm going to ask you, Dr. Gibson, to pick up from where I left off. And then Kobie, you feel free to jump in here as well.
Absolutely.
Well, that happens far too often. One, they go through these programs, and the unfortunate part, they don't even get the urban experience for the student teaching, I like to say they take them to safe spaces, safe schools where where the environment is a little bit less hectic, a little bit more easier for them to identify with. So even in that student teaching, you're still safe. So then you drop you off in the hood. So here's that second grade teacher. And now she's going through a cultural shock.
She is.
She's going through a culture shock. She just don't know what's going on because all they know is this is my teacher. And I'm sure
not what they thought it was.
Right. And this is not the first time this has happened to them because of the system and the way it's designed. So my personal intake in this is that young lady needs to understand cultural competency on a continuum level. Culturally relevant practices, culturally relevant teaching. She needs to be taking herself to all sorts of professional developments. She needs a mentor teacher, whether white or black, somebody who understands the intimacy and the expectation of an early childhood educator. She needs to be taken under the wing. She will not fly by herself. And eventually she might, but it will take years if she doesn't do the work.
So that's the thing. The work has to happen.
She has to do the work.
You have to do the work, right? Because at the end of the day, none of us know everything that we need to.
That's right.
Okay. And so this is the work that happens. This is the work that we've been doing, I've been doing for 20 years. Shout out to Dr. Chika Akua, partner in education as well, and Mark A. Ward, Dream Builders University. This is the work, right? And so to that example, we were out in California, Clovis. Dr. Chika and I, we were doing, they had a new teachers. It was 140 new teachers. They had one black teacher in the room.
Yeah.
Right? One black teacher. And so we were having this conversation. And one of the teachers asked, well, I'm white, how can I, connect? And I said, ma'am, it's not about the color of your skin.
Right.
What we're talking about is your ability to care.
That part.
Right? Your ability to be conscious. Okay. So that's what we're talking, and your character. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about caring, consciousness, and character, not the color of your skin. Because here's the reality of what we told them. You not sharing the information of Black excellence, those inventors, you not equipping yourself with that knowledge of how Black people have had input into society doesn't just do a disservice to the Black students and the students of color. It does a disservice to the white students that you're serving.
That's right.
Like, you do a disservice to everyone. Because what you're doing when you do that is you're basically saying only people who look like you have had pertinent experience and importance to where our society is at this present point.
Yeah.
And that is not the truth. And so it becomes a intentionality, right, of expertise and of action where you have to look and search, because it's not often given, of those people who have had input into our society. So the Black doctors, the Black scientists, the Latino scientists, the other people of color who have had creations and inventions. Like, you have to familiar yourself around with that, because the people that you're teaching, like, that's your job, is to make them aware. You're the biggest part of the curriculum, not the curriculum you're doing.
That's right.
So, so with that said, and I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna give it to both of you. I'm gonna start with you, Kobie, since you were talking last. Got administrators on here right now. That's who this audience is comprised of. Mm-hmm. And here's my question: given that second grade teacher, that hypothetical second grade teacher that I just described, and I might add, Dr. Rella Hicks, who's down in Augusta, her comment is extremely valid. Sadly, it isn't just our white fellow educators that need to do the work.
Listen, I got a whole piece of that. I'm here in South Carolina. This is my home, and I do a lot of work in the South, right? And I tell them it's not just white people who are failing Black kids.
Right.
It is Black people who are failing Black kids too. We're talking with Black superintendents. We're talking with Black directors of curriculum instruction, Black principals, Black teachers, because it's a people thing.
Yeah.
We're not talking. People got to do the work that's needed for them, and so that's the thing. It's a people thing. We got a people issue. We got a people problem in education.
That's right.
We also have a heart problem in education too.
Man, listen,
Heart problem. So here's the question. Given that second grade teacher that I described,
Mm-hmm.
and given the leadership audience of, as I call our fam, who's on right now or who will see the video later, what might be in your mind? I know neither one of you have been principals, but you've been around principals. So Kobie, you do presentations on school leadership. So what might be the role of building level administration as it relates to ensuring that second grader, that first grader, that third grader, that kindergartner, that pre-K youngster is receiving the quality that he or she deserves, that he or she requires? What role does administration play toward ensuring that is the reality?
Administration plays the role of being a coach, right? This is a big gap that's happening. We have people who are positions of leadership and of coaching people, but they don't have the ability to coach. Right? And coaching is not about saying, this is what I do, you should do it like me.
Absolutely.
That's not what a good coach does.
At all.
Right? People think that because you're a great teacher, that you can be a great teacher of teachers. Right? Just because you do something at mastery and greatness doesn't mean that you can translate that to others.
Woo!
That part.
Okay? So we know that Michael Jordan is the greatest, right? He's the GOAT. Other people, he's the greatest. Okay? Right?
I'm gonna stay focused.
Stay focused, right? Okay. But I use this example because guess what? Guess what we also know about Michael Jordan? We know that he's a horrible coach, right? Just because you are great and a master doesn't mean that you can, because he expects them to be able to do what he does. And so what administrators, their role is to be able to coach, to see where their gaps are and to help them to close their gaps, right? In a way that it still stays encouraging, right? In a way that still is motivating, right? But at a way that it forces, right? Growth. Like that's what it's about. It's about instilling and putting them in a position where they can grow. Because a lot of times they think, well, one of the terms that I hate is when people say, well, I just work here. I ain't gotta like these people. I just work here. Like that's a person issue. That's a people thing, right? And your job as an administrator and as a leader is to help them to know that, hey, as a leader, I can help you, but you got other people in this building who are doing what you're doing, and y'all need to have some conversations. So what leaders need to do is they need to do a better job in building community around the schools, right? And helping people to talk to each other, right? Not just in grade level, not just talking to your grade level pod, but where is the community that where the fifth grade teacher is having conversations with the kindergarten teacher, and the first grade teacher is having conversations with the third grade teacher, intentional about here are the gaps that I'm showing, and here's what I'm doing, and how do we fix this? And so when a principal or administrator, assistant principal sees this second grade teacher who is not having ability to connect with these kids, because that's what it's about. It's about connecting, okay? And what their job is to help them to say, these are the conversations that you have in your classroom. You have to share you with them, right? And help them to share about themselves with each other. Because that's how you cultivate and build community in the classroom. There has to be conversations, because you have to be able to connect them to the learning so that the learning becomes real in their lives. The goal is to get understanding, not just to have them learn something, because learning leaves, understanding stays.
It has to be transversal all over. Like you have to see how, and this is just an example, how math and reading are connected. It's not East Coast, West Coast.
Right. Absolutely.
Because you got the math department and you got the reading department, and they beefing, but why? Because the learning should all be transversal. It should cross lines.
It should cross lines. Has to.
It has to. So I'm glad you said that. one time, in schools, they push culture really big, the culture of the school. So I did some investigating, like, what is culture, So I looked at the biological definition one time, and it said maintaining conditions suitable for growth.
Come on.
I'm gonna say it again. Now, this is not the regular definitions. This is going into medical terms.
That's right.
Or just the phyllenes and all the things like that. It says maintain in conditions suitable for growth. That's the end goal right there. You want your conditions throughout the building to be operable so that whomever is in that building can grow. And that's leadership.
Come on.
That's including your regular staff, your janitorial staff, your professional, your students. Those spaces should not, and what happens a lot of times, it comes in silos. I want to get in Mr. Principal Kafele's class because I know my baby gonna come out reading and learning. I got to make sure I ask Principal Kafele to put my baby in Kobie the Wiz class because I know once he leaves that space, we're gonna see growth throughout the entire year.
Facts.
If we are building a community within space and that schoolhouse, we have to maintain in conditions suitable for growth. That means that second grade educator, she has to be mentored. She has to be coached up,
and she has to be put in a position where she actually come in contact with her belief system.
Exactly.
That's the thing. She believes something about these kids, and now she's getting here and she's finding out. And what I despise is this pittiness. Oh, these poor kids.
No, we don't need your favorite.
Listen, we don't need your pity.
We need it.
They need your proficiency. You know what I'm saying? They need your perfection. They need your power. That's what they need. They don't need your pity.
No.
And so when they want to scream out equity in these districts so much, equity is not letting that second grade student stop trying to teach them how to do something they can, but give them what they need.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Like, okay, I understand your curriculum calls for them to this, but how about we're not going to let this baby leave out of this room without reading?
Yeah.
And for administrators, we want them to always understand, Professor Paley, that you're always a teacher.
Always.
Right? The only thing that's happening is your students are changing. Right? So when you become an assistant principal or principal, your students are now teachers. Right? When you become a assistant superintendent, like your students are now principals and assistant principals.
Yeah.
Like you have to always be a teacher. And like what happens with that second grade teacher who has these gaps, as an administrator, your job is to teach.
That's right.
Right. That's
like
right.
your job is to be a teacher for them.
Put them in position where we can feel
to win.
Yes.
You know, Kobie, you talked about, one of the words that resonated with me because it's my word, is the word coach.
That's right.
And the ability to coach.
Yes.
And many of the fam on here know that I just wrote this 50,000 word book called "What Is My Value to the Teachers That I Supervise Instructionally."
Yes, in 18 days. Don't.
Yeah. How about that? It'll be out December. Y'all be patient.
Yeah, I'll be watching. You know what I'm saying? We keep them.
Yeah, I went around the clock on that one. But here's the thing. There's a question that I ask in the book. And it speaks to everything you just said. What do I know about pedagogy?
Come on.
Beyond who I was in the classroom.
That's right.
There you go.
So who Mr. Kafele was as a teacher, and I was teacher of the year, school level, district level, county level, and New Jersey State finalist teacher of the year. But that doesn't mean that what I did in that classroom, all of it was transferable to someone whose personality is very different from mine. See, who Mr. Kafele is, meaning the teacher, is rooted in Baruti Kafele.
Come on.
Principal Kafele is rooted in Baruti Kafele. So I can't expect a leadership audience to take everything about what I did. So I don't even share everything I did because I know that a lot of what I did is not transferable.
That's right.
The point you made about Michael Jordan is spot on. I can't teach you to be Mike.
That's right.
That's him.
That's it.
And a lot of that's not transferable.
It's not.
I can't teach you that Allen Iverson crossover. You may do a crossover, but it
But
might
it
not
ain't
look
his.
like AI, right?
It ain't gonna be his. That handshake, it ain't gonna be his.
In the first season, first time he played him, right? So,
Get him in.
yeah, so hey, let me get back.
Focus. Let's go. Let's go.
I got long-term distracted. He said it, then y'all spoke for 10 minutes, and I went right back to it. Hey, Dr. Gibson, when I packed for this trip I'm on right now, I left so many things home. My wife knows, because I'm like, man, I left this home. I left a lot of things I needed. And one of the things I left home were your books.
Okay.
Because I have 3 of the 5.
Okay.
And I wanted to bring them and put them on the screen. I hope you have some near you, right? Because I want the folks to see them covers if you can get.
I can go get them.
Yeah. So let me give the commentary first, and we'll give you it. So you've authored and published a children's book series for those that tuned in a little bit later called Christine's Big Hair Adventures, which focuses on the 5 social emotional learning competencies. And I'm gonna give those competencies, folks: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, and relationship skills. And I want to give you these titles: Christine goes to school, Christine goes to the dojo, Christine goes to grandma's, Christine goes camping, and Christine goes on vacation. When you started speaking about identity, my mind went right to your books. Right. And I said, I said to myself, this is what she's talking about. Right. So talk to us, therefore, Dr. Gibson, about the motivation behind writing this series of books, Christine's Big Hair Adventures, including, tell us what you mean by big hair.
Okay. So the motivation behind my book series was I wanted to give back. I wanted, being in such a dark place, I should say, growing up in the inside. Nobody, I smiled on the outside, but being just not happy all the time, feeling injured, like I said, in the inside. So I wanted to have a space where, first of all, books are like lifelines. They're a universal glue, adhesive that brings everybody together. A good story in a book. So being able to have people, books in spaces where kids can look and see themselves or a character that actually looks like, or they can identify with, is like super dope. One. Something that I wish I had growing up. And these are just stories about little girl going through life. She not in the hood. She's not, nobody's a drug dealer. That's not her story. Her story is she's just a little girl who has questions, who's being questioned, and has to learn how to deal with just life itself and just grow up. And to be able to have her, and so let me tell you this, I have gotten emails to question me about, can you make her a little bit lighter?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't even stop as an adult. Things that, it resonate with me so much because, I was very intentional about when I made her character. I wanted her to be chocolate. I didn't want anybody to say, oh, could she be? No, she could be nothing but chocolate. Okay. Nothing but. So I want kids, because she is the main character, but she has brothers. And she goes to a lot of different spaces. I'm very inclusive in my books of what my characters look like and who they are, from ableism to disableism. So my books cross those barriers. So I personally would really, really, really just want anybody who read that book to understand that, and even for adults, they come with an affirmation that growth is part of life and growth is uncomfortable.
That's right.
But we all have to grow and learn, and our talents, we have to learn and grow into those as well. And our uniqueness becomes the thing,
Yeah.
And We are designed who God designed us to be, and we shouldn't have to change. Now, we can redevelop and re-image ourselves and reintroduce ourselves because that's on a journey of self-development. But who we are or who we've been designed to be has always been there. We just have to develop that. So my book series is literally to develop young people, to grow them into the best version of them from the inside out. Because once they see that, oh, I can be her.
Yeah.
She fell off her bike just like I did. Oh, she ain't listened to her mama just like I did. Like her grandma, just like I like mine. Or her brothers get on her nerves. These are identifiable stories of realistic fiction. She went on vacation for the first time out of the country. She got to see things she's never got to see before. She didn't listen to her mom. She got in trouble. These are stories that any kid can identify with and learn lessons from. To have these type of books, and Kobie's the same way. Like, I love reading his books to my kids because of the characters in the books, because they have questions. My brother Lamarque Ward, he said he took his books and my books to read them into a classroom, and one of the young men raised his hand and said, "Why are all?" And this is a school that's majority Black kids. The question the young man had was, why are all the characters in this book mainly brown? That tells us we got to do better.
Got to do better.
We got to do better. When you have a brown kid asking why the characters in the book look like him, that means you're not used to seeing yourself.
I'm used to it.
And so that's part of identity.
Yeah.
Now you're identifying books, other races, and other colors. And you're not part of that when you absolutely are.
It wasn't normal for him.
It wasn't normal. It was out of scope.
Yeah.
So what's going on with these books? I had one person when it was brought up, let's use Christine's Big Hair Adventures. I had a Black lady say, which I was told, we're not gonna say names, I don't know if I'm comfortable with teaching a book with a Black girl on the cover. And she sits in front of Black children all day long.
This is us.
This is us.
Yeah.
People
Post-traumatic slave disorder is
That's
real.
exactly what it is.
It's real. It's real. It's a real thing.
And that mentality.
Yep.
That if I show you somebody who looks different, it equals achievement, and it absolutely does not.
Yep. And someone on the call, they may have thought I meant to say post-traumatic stress disorder. No. I said post-traumatic slave disorder.
It's a real thing. Google it.
It's a real thing, right? And if that's a new concept to somebody out there in the fam right now, go explore it. There's a lot out there on it. Read Joy DeGroy's books. She talks extensively about it, right? And by the way, before I go to you, Cole, I love the fam of the AP and New Principals Academy. So this is one of the fam, Jean Broyles, who's a dynamite consultant in her own right, recognized by a lot of national organizations for the consulting that she does. She put the website right there. I didn't even ask, so now you can go there's the website, Christine's Big Hair Adventures. And you can also go right to Amazon, and it's 5 of them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's five books. They're large and great children's books. And certainly I would recommend them. I've read the 3 that I have, but but I certainly recommend all 5. So you can get all 5 of those books right now.
You asked me a question I didn't answer about.
Yeah, big hair.
Where the big hair come from? So anybody knows in the culture, on wash day, when it's time to get that hair done, you got to take them braids out. You got to take them ponytails out. And what does your hair look like?
Big hair.
It's big hair. And that crosses cultures too.
Yes.
And so I was going to say Afro. I really started wearing my Afro a lot out because the kids have this conception that beauty is Beyonce. And Beyonce is beautiful. So I'm not saying that. But they have in their mind what beauty is, these perceptions, because it's mainstream.
Mhm.
So, you have to show them, show them better than I could tell you what beauty can look like. Beauty can be an afro. Beauty can be big hair. So that was one of the things I was real passionate about, was just, hey, and in that book, she's got a lot of hair going on too.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
yeah. Real quick, Jada Puglius, this is one of my milking sisters down here in LA as well, and she just received the blue ribbon for her school that she leads in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. And she said, what grade level and can they be read as early as kindergarten?
yes,
Absolutely.
it's early childhood, pre-K to 3. I've even have people buy the books for their women, their little girl groups, like the little, I would say like the 4th, 5th grade, because of the lessons,
Mhm.
the affirmation. But when I created them, they were designed for a K to 3.
Yeah, very good, very good. Let's go. Kobie, you've written a series of children's books yourself, including Little Red, Queen Infinity. Is it Kuga?
Cougar Munga Chuga.
Yeah, Munga Chuga, and Fred and Mary, and Get in Your Place.
Yeah.
So same question. What is the motivation for the children's books that you write?
The books that I write are for kids, man, and for teachers as well. As a teacher, I read books all the time to kids, but they would have, a great story, but not great illustrations, or great illustrations and not a great story. And so I wrote these books with a purpose and a message to be able to, for teachers to be able to use it all year. So Fred and Mary, this is the first one. This is the first book I wrote, and it's about loving yourself, right? And about a guy named Fred and a girl named Mary, and they both are pretty hairy.
Mm.
And so we have an affirmation at the back of that one about loving yourself, and that's the message of that book. Uh, Queen Infinity was the second book that I wrote. This book actually won 2 international awards in reading skills and literacy. It's actually targeted toward the reluctant reader, and it rhymes from beginning to end. And there is the queen. And so it focuses on literacy and leadership. And we have a teacher's guide and a student guide that Dr. Christine Gibson actually created that goes along with this book.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, that's why I said. So when you was like, they got Dr. Christine Gibson out of, I'm like, that's my people.
Yeah,
That's my people right there. So she put her wonderful mind to work, and she created the teacher's guide and the student guide that actually goes along with this book.
And there's the link in the Facebook group there.
Yeah, so there's. I appreciate you, Gene, Dr. Gene, and then Get in Your Place. So when I taught kindergarten and first grade, and I taught you how I taught my kids place value to the trillions. This is the system that I used, right? This is the book. The book is a song, and the song is a book. If you put something to rhythm and rhyme, they learn it in half the time. So that's the piece. So we have Little Red, and then we have a Cougar Munga Chuga. Little Red is my version of Little Red Riding Hood. And then at the back, we got educational resources about creating community, their family tree, and then stranger danger, right? Which strangers are you supposed to talk to and which you do not, right? So we don't have that conversation a lot with kids anymore. And so that's for really their early childhood, that pre-K to second grade, on how do you, who do you talk to? And then when you share information, right? What information do you share? And so, like in Little Red, she meets the wolf, and he says, where are you going? And she just gives her all of it. Well, I'm going to my grandma's. Does she live far from you, or you go up the bridge, cross over the bridge, and make a left at the rock? I know exactly where it is. So just give all the information out. Too much. And so that's Little Red. And then Cougar Munga Chuga is about a little boy named Donald who loves to eat his boogers. And so we got the science around that, about the mucus in the body. And at the back of all of my books, there's always going to be teaching tools and learning and math. And so to be able to extend the learning. So when you said, why do I write books? I'm a teacher. So what I always want to do in the books that you read, you always want to extend the learning beyond the initial piece. So in the back of all my books, you're always going to find some information that's going to allow you to take what's in the book and then extend it beyond that initial lesson and that initial moment.
Mine as well. I have a vocabulary section in the back of the book. Every book has an affirmation. My book, I went there and they weren't there. I didn't want to go search. I know they're probably upstairs. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep running around the house because I should have had some right here if I was.
That's what he said. Like when he said that, I was like, let me go off camera.
I know he went off camera. I went and they was boxed up, and I'm like, I'm not about to open no box.
Yeah.
I should have said so. See, normally I have my guest books with me, and I'm on the road and all that kind of stuff.
No worries. You can find a book, Alana, Yolanda. There they go.
There you go.
Yolanda, you can go to Amazon. If y'all go to Amazon and just type in L. Kobie the Wiz, LKOB is right there on the screen. Everything comes up. And the website is the same. Social media, all the same. Everything.
And let me say this to the fam right quick. And I see Gene just put this up here. Let me say this to the fam right quick. We're not done. And I know that to my two guests, you probably say, well, when are we going to get to them talking points? We've had so much conversation. I put them on the back burner, but I'm coming. But listen, to the fam out there, we're not done, but I want them, being that we're at like 12:30 Eastern, I want them to at least let you all know how to contact them. So let me start with Dr. Gibson. How do folks reach you, Doc, if they want to just follow you on social media, if they want to invite you out to do a presentation? How do they reach you?
They can reach me at Christine Gibson, at Christine Gibson on Facebook, at Big Hair Adventures on Instagram. And Twitter, I think it's at Big Hair. At Big Hair. I don't know for a fact. But they could also just email me at cgibson at, I'll give you the quick version. No, Dr. Gibson 2020 at gmail.com. Dr. Gibson 2020 at gmail.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Kobie the Wiz.
Hey man, everything is L. Kobie the Wiz. Everything. Google me. I'm out here. But if you want to, shoot me up an email. It's lkobiethewiz@gmail.com. We make it real simple. Or Kobie at lkobiethewiz.com. And then a new piece that I'm actually launching. Go to lkobiethewiz.math.com. I'm just put together a summer course, a summer intensive for students. Really trying to get at those foundational skills for learning for students, those grades 2nd through 5th. So I'm getting ready to launch that. I'm going to have I'm going to do 3 weeks intensive. So if you know a 2nd through 5th grader who needs some help in mathematics and getting that foundation within their place value, multiplication, addition, subtraction, holler at your boy, lkobiethewiz.math.com. We got 3-week intensive that's happening. Check it out, sign up, get your kids in there, and let's get them with those foundational skills.
I love it. I love it. I want to go to those talking points that you sent me. But before I do, I just got this one question that I want to ask Dr. Gibson. Dr. Gibson, if you were Dr. Christine Gibson, superintendent of schools at ABC School District.
Come on. Take it into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna be superintendent too somewhere. He's gonna bring us out.
He's gonna stay in these speakers. He ain't used to having bosses no more. So, but if you were that superintendent at ABC School District,
okay,
how would you convince your board, the Board of Education members, that the Christine's Big Hair series is a necessary series of books for the students of your district?
Self-development for kids. My call would be we need to develop our kids' identity and their sense of self-worth. Self-efficacy is huge. Part of my dissertation, I'm gonna bring that back up because I could bring it up now. Was I did it on the Bandura social cognitive theory. That was my framework, and it basically is how one's self-efficacy helps either hinders them from achieving their goal or having the sense of that they can complete it, or either how do you get in the way with yourself, put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the Christine's Big Hair Adventure series helps students self-efficacy, helps them to grow into who they need to be. And we need productive citizens. We need people out there who can do critical thinking skills, who learn that losing does not mean you're not winning. I like what Kobie said. You have to lose to win.
Listen, in that order.
And how we consider it failing, but we see it as growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Christie's Big Hair Adventure series speaks life into children. It helps them to grow from the inside out. And that's we have to do. So when we think of academics and social and emotional development, you can't separate the two. I can't grow you academically without growing you emotionally.
That's right.
You have to grow your emotional intelligence just as much. I have to pour into your academics. So we have to keep in mind when we do these things, or we get books or create books, that not only am I teaching you a life lesson, I'm also developing you as an individual and pushing these character traits that we see as and very important. You know what I mean? This is something that we need to do as educators, period. So even in math, you should be, even your math curriculum or your math books should be like Kobie's, should be developing character along the way as I'm teaching you math, because we're not growing you academically and leaving your emotional side behind. We don't want to do that. We want to grow them both at the same simultaneously. So that would be my call to the superintendent.
I love superintendent.
I have to give them some stats too about how the reading levels is low, and
Yeah.
throw all that in too.
Yeah. I love it. Let me go to these talking points. Some of them anyway, given time. But you sent me, each of you sent me a few, and I'm gonna start off with you, Dr. Gibson. You said, and this is there's some they only give you 200 characters on it, but I'm gonna read the last part of this one.
Okay.
But first, you said investing in the self-development of Black girls is not just about individual growth, but also about creating a more equitable and inclusive society where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Mm-hmm.
I asked for the fam out there, I asked all my guests, I said, send me about 4 or 5 talking points of areas that you're most passionate about within the work that you do. So this was the one that came up first. So my question to you is very simple, Dr. Gibson. What are you telling us here?
I'm telling us that we need to develop and have, we need to make sure that our young Black youth, especially our females, I'm advocating for the females right now, know their self-worth. Know that these constructs that society has placed, they can be dismantled through education and growth. Having people around you that lets you know, that tells the young kids, the young girls, I should say, that the importance of their voice, the importance of that they matter in society, and how that they can dismantle just by being educated. It's so many things how so many negative things they have right now that pertains to Black females, just like we're loud and just the negative stereotypes. And if so just invested in, so that when a young girl grows up, and as she grows, she can know that even with these things being out there, that if I'm developing myself, and if I know my self-worth, I don't have to worry about that, because I'm a myth buster already. My life shows proof, it's evidence. Okay. Oh, sorry. I am living proof of that. It is possible for me to be a productive person in society and just be the best version of anybody I can show up as. So, we want to make sure, but that comes with wrapping your arms around and having people in places and resources and books and so many other things, principal cafeles, people who understand the history and why we're being categorized as such, or called such, or character, or you know how they the colorism and things of that nature. You know, we want to make sure that the history is strong, so and it's taught, so that as we develop these young girls, they understand why, because that's important. Because once you understand why, then it makes more sense to the path you're taking to be successful. And success looks different for everybody, but I know just for the young Black girls, I know their pain. I don't know all the pain. I know some of it. And I know that if I had more people to at least help, support, develop, and resources, I wouldn't have it probably would not have taken me so long, you know? And so I just want to let them know that they have an advocate in me. I'm there for them. I'm always somewhere talking to females, female groups about the importance of just being the dopest Black female they can be and what that looks like. I give them my story. And, you know, they're like, oh, how you become a doctor? Was it hard? And I had to tell them it was.
Yes.
And I also have to tell them that everybody who is in your corner right now may not need to be.
Yeah.
And so, you know, having goals and being able to free themselves from the things that the distractions and the things that they've been taught that does not align with their goals or with their worth, you know, has to be something that they got to learn and discern how to just get away from to grow. And I also would tell them that you got to be willing to unlearn a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because growth is uncomfortable. A lot of people like, oh, you're growing. That's why it's called growing pains, because it hurts. Once you step outside of your comfort zone and you have the opportunity to grow, you don't want to keep looking back. You want to keep moving forward. And it hurts sometimes to leave folks behind.
Yeah.
And it hurts sometimes not to be in that space that you were so comfortable in.
Yeah.
But that's all part of growing. And I would just tell them, like, they are loved. And it's a journey. And it's a process. And it's not easy, not all the time. But as they grow through this process, the more they learn about themselves, the more they will understand why it hurt, you know, and it'll be more fulfilling as they grow.
So let me ask you this. So I'm out there in the fam, in the AP and New Principals Academy fam, watching you, listening to all your words attentively. Okay. And my question, as one of the fam, the leaders out here watching, hey, Dr. Gibson, so I hear you loud and clear, and I have that Black girl in my school. What advice do you have for me now? I'm principal or I'm assistant principal. What's my role in all of this?
Have an equitable heart. And understand that this is not the end of their journey, it's the beginning. I know sometimes we place these ideas and what our expectations are so harsh on, and I know we want the best, but I like to tell my people when I do professional developments, where were you in the 7th grade?
That's right.
Your journey.
That's right.
Where were you in the 5th grade on your journey? Because now you can look back and see the error in your ways, but at that point in life, you were doing what you thought you wanted to do.
That's right.
And I was probably getting a whooping. I'm just gonna be honest. You know,
lots of them.
However, that made me to who I am today. But those mistakes along the way helped me to grow. So I would tell that assistant principal, I would tell that AP to have grace and mercy, but also hold that baby accountable. But it's going to take a lot of arms and a lot of conversations and a lot of resources to say, hey, and the vulnerability in it too.
That's right.
A lot of times they see us as superstars or the person who just know it all. And you have to tell them, like, hey, I fell and bumped my head just like you this many times. When I was in the 6th grade, this is what I did, you know. But you know, and in that vulnerability, that's where they can see that it is possible. But that's what I would tell them.
Love it. Great stuff. Let me keep moving. So Kobie, you said in the initial one you sent me, as a master teacher, I'm super passionate about instruction and moving kids academically. Talk to us. What are you saying to us?
Yes, I am super passionate about instruction, man, and helping teachers. I think that a lot of times the teachers don't always know what it is that they're supposed to do or what engaging instruction looks like. So I have the 9 components of engaging instruction, and then I have the L, Kobie the Wiz definition of teaching. And teaching is the shifting, shaping, and or changing of one's thinking so that understanding can be gained or deepened. So the goal is not to learn, the goal is for them to understand. So we want to shift, shape, and change a student's thinking so that they can get the understanding. And if they, right, so understanding can be gained or deepened. So if they have it, awesome, right? If they don't have it, we want to give it to them. But if you already have it, then we want to deepen it. And so that's the part, is how many times have we kids that have learned something, or us as people, right? How many times have we learned something but didn't understand it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I do this exercise all the time, focusing on the math piece and understanding where that gap is. I asked, we think with teachers, and I say, okay, what's a fraction? Right. And they all say parts of a whole. And then I ask them, okay, so what's the whole? And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, the whole is always 1. So I do this exercise with them, right? What we do it is say a fraction is an equal part of a whole, and the whole is always one of something.
Right.
Right? The whole is always 1. But the something, right, it's 1 of something. So it might be 1 whole pizza. It might be 1 whole class that has 26 parts, right? It might be 1 whole football team that's made up. Like, the whole is always the 1, but the 1 of something. And so that's what the part they don't get that understanding. So that's a brief piece, but really moving kids and helping them to recognize where they are and that they're on a journey to somewhere else, right? How did you get your kids, reading at the beginning 7th grade level, and 1st graders, and some of them didn't even know, their letters. At the beginning, I held up a book. It was a chapter book. And I said, y'all want to read this chapter book? They're like, yeah. And then, like little kids are 1st grade, but I don't even know my letters. I got you, right? But we're going to move them because now we've given them a goal and a destination, right? To see and helping them to understand where they are, and then helping teachers, right? And so that's the goal of administrators, is to say, hey, work with your teachers and say, that is the goal. The goal is to move kids forward. The goal is always growth. Like, that's the thing, right? The goal is always growth. The goal in practicing, right? They say practice makes perfect. We're not trying to get you to perfect. We're trying to get you to proficient, right? So practice makes proficient. And so really passionate about helping teachers and then showing teachers what that looks like with what they're doing. So that's what the model teaching piece I do when I actually come into schools, actually show them in their classroom with their kids, and then show them the power of preparation.
Yeah.
Preparation is where you get your power. And a lot of people stand in front of kids powerless because their preparation is weak.
Powerful stuff. I'm gonna keep moving because of time. So Dr. Gibson, you said by focusing on self-development, Black girls, and I know you addressed some of this in the previous, Black girls can break through societal barriers and challenge systemic inequalities. It prepares them to advocate for themselves and others effectively. Let's talk about that for a minute. What are you saying?
I need them to be self-advocates. Yeah. And in order to be a self-advocate, you got to know who you are and why you're advocating in the first place. So to be a self-advocate is to understand the importance. First of all, they got to know what advocacy is. I tell them they being a cheerleader for somebody. And so just the way you cheering, like I go to the Bengals games and I'm hooting all day, that's they need to feel about themselves, that feeling, you know? But sometimes we have to pour into them. A lot of times we do, because there's so many distractions. It's so many distractions. And they have to know when to let those distractions go, or how to maneuver around them, and how to self-advocate. But that's a journey. They have to be able to self-develop themselves. Now, I tell them all the time, I could be your number one cheerleader, but if you're not cheering for yourself, then what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
I got all the pom-poms, I'm out here like this. I got the whole hookup on. I done painted my face and everything. And you still sitting down. I need you to sit up, because this is you, but that becomes the power within. And I think that's the hard part right there, just to be able to, that's like somebody who's real shy or doesn't have self-efficacy. Somebody keep complimenting them. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
They don't accept it.
They can't believe it. They ain't gonna believe it.
They can't even process it. So I want to put them in front of a mirror and make them sit there.
I love it.
Say that affirmation over and over and over until it resonates in their soul, until it's manifested in the way they look and
That's
they
right.
speak. So one of the things that I did at my school was I used my affirmation on a daily basis before I parted ways with the district. And so what they would do is they would have the kids come in the morning over the loudspeaker, and they would say the affirmation. I would catch them in the hallway sometimes going at it, and then they'll look at it. One of the girls say, "You better know your worth, because I do." Come on now.
That's it. Start living it out.
You say it enough, you're gonna believe it.
That's right.
That's what I need you to do, is believe who you
Say
are.
it till you see it.
You speak it till you see it. And I think we don't have enough people speaking it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they hear the distract them. The noise is louder than the cry in the inside. So we gotta pour more into the inside of them. Drink it. We gotta feed your soul. Let's read. Let's read. We gotta feed the souls of our babies, so that when they are walking around, it's expressed through their attitude. I tell people, attitude is a direct manifestation of what you're thinking.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you think your thoughts are warped, that's your attitude might be just a little bit warped from what we see from the outside.
So let me ask you now. I got my principal hat on again.
Okay.
And our district, my school, our district, we're struggling. We have a wide achievement gap.
Okay.
Black and brown students are underperforming. And I'm under immense pressure from my superintendent, the assistant superintendents, from the state, that these test scores have to rise. And ultimately, if not, then I'll probably be without a job. Right. So now here I'm tuning into the AP and New Principals Academy, because I'm looking for this advice, because this is my reality. This is my world. But I'm also feeling what Dr. Christine Gibson is saying about the self-development of Black girls, and being able to ultimately break through these societal barriers. But I got these test scores on my shoulder. And so Dr. Gibson, and I know this is real. What might you say to that leader that's under this test score pressure, knowing that what you're saying is right?
Right.
But I got to keep my teacher focused on math instruction.
Right.
What would you say?
I would say this. First of all, I have to go back to reference something that I experienced. I used to spend most of my time showing them that it is possible, that they can do it. The problem is, a lot of them have been self-hated, or what's the word? Not advocated for, one, and two, they've been in these classrooms with a lot of teachers who don't have very high expectations.
They've been failed. They've
been fed. So they've been programmed now that I can't do it anyways. So we're gonna have to unprogram, we're gonna have to unlearn that behavior. I'm not gonna get you. I'm sorry, I know you want this test score, but there's some things I have to work on internally along. That's like separate the social, emotional, and academic of a child. I can't split that child in the middle. Like, okay, I'm gonna take this part of you to work with me today, and I'm gonna teach you, and you're gonna pass this test when they're not emotionally attached to any of this because they don't see the worth. They don't even see their worth. That's why I said when we have these programs and we teaching our kids, it's all got to be related. It's all got to be embedded. Kobie stuff, my stuff, things that you come up with, Principal Kafela, it all feeds into the soul and the value of the person. If I feel like I can do it, by golly, I'm going to go in there and get my 110%, whether I get a C and I thought I was going to get an A. But I tried. If I feel my value was little to nothing and I don't feel like I'm going to succeed anyways, I'm giving you exactly what I'm giving you, what we talking about, and it's nothing. The bare minimum.
Yeah.
It's a belief.
It is. I spend a lot of my time in the district as an intervention specialist and curriculum council chair, just talking to a lot of the children and the teachers, just to let them know that it is possible. You can do it. I had kids in my room in tears, like they want me to do this, but I can't do it. Who says you can't?
Yeah.
They don't have the tools.
They don't have the tools.
They don't have the tools, and you can't build something if you don't have the right tools.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I would tell that educator, you're going to have to build the whole child, not the academic side of the child.
Yeah, that's part of it. I would give them the 3 rules for success. So here is the 3 rules of success that I use when I work around and I work with schools to actually shift the culture of their schools, right? It's 3 rules. Everybody, K through 5, 6, 8, these are the 3 rules for success. Rule number 1 is always do your best.
Always do your best.
Rule number 2 is never give up.
Never give up.
Rule number 3 is do all the work, right? We're going to give our best. The reason why rule number 2 is never give up, because we know we're going to give them some stuff that's going to be challenging. We're going to give you some stuff that's going to make you want to give up, right? And so we got to live by that. And then rule number 3 is do all the work. Like that is where the change and the magic happens.
Way through.
You're not going to get what you're looking if you don't do the work. And what I tell them, I say, this is the rules that we use, whether you're 4 or 84. Right? They work for everybody. It's the same rules I live by. I got to give my best. I can't give up, and I got to do all the work that's for me to do. Like this is how success shows up. You got to have a system, right? And to be able to put it into practice. So that is the real world applicable, tool that you use and that teachers use for administrators to get to the school, right? This is school wide, right? So that's why I know you don't get to not do the work.
Yeah.
Right?
You got to be resilience too.
Yeah, I got one more because I know you sent me more, but we've been on here 2 hours. I got one more for you. I'm gonna go to Kobie on this. So we did 2 and 2. As an educational and workplace strategist, I'm immensely passionate about the leadership development and guiding leaders on how to shift, cultivate, and create school cultures of achievement. Talk to us about that, and particularly with that culture of achievement.
Oh, that was perfect. I guess the 3 rules for success was like the perfect lead-in for that, right?
Yeah.
So you have to shift the culture, right? You have to have a system for your success. And without a system, success doesn't show up. Like success happens on purpose. It doesn't happen on accident. We don't accidentally, score at the top of the charts for schools. We don't accidentally get all our kids. I don't accidentally get all my kids reading on a 2nd and 3rd grade level. It doesn't happen by accident, right? It happens on purpose. And so using what Dr. Christine said, when you talk about a culture of achievement, like that is the goal. The goal is to create a space where growth happens, not just growth academically, but growth personally, right? Growth emotionally, growth intellectually, growth spiritually, growth relationally, right? Like that has to be the goal. And so when I'm talking and coaching administrators and leaders, this is the thing. You have to be the message that you bring, right? You have to be it. We are human beings. And so one of the questions I asked them is, how do you be as a leader?
That's right.
They're like, do you mean art? No, 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 no. How do you be as a leader?
Or be
Right?
me.
What does your being look like? Okay. How do you be? Because in order to cultivate and create a culture of achievement, like, you have to be something. You have to be away with people.
Yeah.
You have to be away with kids. You have to be away with parents. So what does your being look like? Because if you're preaching this message of, hey, I want you all to make sure that you believe in kids. I want you all to encourage kids. Okay. That's the message that you're saying. But how do you be? Because people listen to what you do when they watch what you say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Their listening comes in your doing. So they don't watch what you do, they watch what you say.
Yeah.
They listen to what you do. Right? Because they're like, well, you messed that up. They're supposed to be listening to what you say. Like, no, 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 no. That's not really where the listening happens. And so when you are a leader, you have to be something, right? Not better, but your job is to be bigger.
Right.
And so how do you create this culture? You create it in a way where you are first the model of that, and then you have to create other leaders. You have to get them to have the other sayings, say what you say, do what you do, be how you be.
Right. I can say that ironically, they watch who you be.
Yeah. 100%.
We need to exist.
That's right.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. You know, some folks, I don't know where this time went. I feel like I just sat down here at 10:55 Eastern time, and it's unreal that it's 12:08 Eastern time, but I don't know where the time went. You all know that I do these BAM impact questions. I'm not going to give you 20 because I got two guests, so we're going to go 10 and 10. These are rapid fire.
All right, we go back and forth. Go back and forth.
One word, one sentence max, no commas. When one's a comma, then you going too long, right? I'm gonna get first. You have to give the first 10 to Dr. Gibson, and then the final 10 to Kobie, and then the final question to both of you. Okay. So here we go. Boom. Is education on the right path for this is Dr. Gibson. Is education on the right path for underserved children in America?
No.
Are you optimistic about the educational prospects for the masses of Black and brown students in America today?
Maybe.
Can true equity occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students today?
Wow.
Fire. Give it to him.
Okay. That's a loaded question though.
With fire.
Certain institutions.
Certain institutions. Does Dr. Christine Gibson's work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
Definitely.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
The same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
I'm passionate about it.
What fires you up within the work that you do?
Seeing the impact on others.
What do you absolutely love about the work you do?
The impact I make on kids.
What do you dislike about the work you do?
I can't reach enough.
What has been your greatest victory in this work thus far?
Having kids see me and tell me that they learned from me.
Good stuff. Kobie, what has been your greatest mistake in your work?
Not getting a coach soon enough.
What has been your greatest challenge in this work?
Battling the red tape.
Who inspires you in your work?
Wow.
Rapid fire. You told me.
I would say Principal Kafele. How about that? We talked about that before we came on camera. So I would definitely say you were definitely one of the folks who inspired me for sure.
I appreciate you. What are you reading right now? It doesn't have to be a book. It could be, but it could be an article, a blog, a tweet, anything.
No, I'm reading quite a few things. I read about 3 or 4 books at a time. I got some books I read every year. Right now, the one I'm on is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, okay. I heard of that book too. What What book would you recommend for our viewers this afternoon?
Okay. I'm gonna give them a few. I'm giving all the Principal Felix books. Okay, all of them. Okay, and then all of Christine Gibson's books, and then for mine, for the leaders, I have a book, The 5 Leadership Lessons for Masterful Living. Learning Happens in the Conversations by yours truly. So definitely go get that.
And to the fam, I have that book at home, but I don't have it on me. That's another thing I left home. But you can go to Amazon and get it. Right. What do you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
I want to get my books in a million kids' hands.
Are you satisfied with where you are professionally now?
No.
What could you say to a viewer out there who continues to face closed doors?
I would say that that you don't get to the goal if you quit.
What could you say to a viewer out there who's lost their fire?
I would say dig deep. I would say remember there's a reason why you started doing what you're doing, and there's much work to do, and somebody's waiting on you.
And lastly, if L. Kobie Wilkerson was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Enthusiasm.
And if Dr. Christine Gibson was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Striving.
Love it. These are, I do the same questions with every guest because every guest answers differently. So I decided why change it. I think the fam out there is probably intrigued and interested in hearing the different responses from the now hundreds of different guests that I've had on here. So let me say to you, the two of you first, formally, outstanding. This was phenomenal. This was great stuff. And to the fam out there, you already know how we applaud our guest. And I appreciate you already got a head start on me. So let them know, for those of you who are first timers, we just use our favorite emojis, use a whole lot of them, and let our guests know if what they said today, their message was resonating, if it was uplifting, if it was useful, if you can implement it when you get back to school, or if you're in school now, school hasn't ended yet, whatever it is. And I'll get my emoji. You know, I don't travel with the big Louisville Slugger. I bring the little joint. So I got my Josh Gibson Homestead Grays on. So you hit it out the park. As always, grand slam. Every time you went to bat, you brought in 3 runners and yourself. So 4 runs driven home by the now #1 batting average in the history.
Let's go. Come on.
That's right. Josh Gibson. Career and single season. A lot of people upset about that.
They are. They mad. They big mad too. They big, capital B-I-G.
Yeah. So and those who are mad, all I can say is your ancestors should have let us play.
Come on.
Should have let us in the game, man. The only difference.
It would have been so much better. We'd be so much further along in the game right now. But
that's it, man. Y'all. That's why a lot of people question now Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Ted Williams and all their records, because y'all didn't play against the best, man. So it's, it works both ways.
Yes.
Folks upset that the records, the Josh Gibson and the other 2,300 records were merged. But then you got to look at it and say, well, hold up, man. They were just born black. I mean, what's the crime? Josh Gibson was hitting the ball not just over the fence. He was hitting it on the streets of the Bronx. Can you imagine that? Not just over the home run fence. That bad boy was hitting the pavement outside of the stadium.
Car window.
And y'all don't want him? I know I'm going on a tangent. I'm gonna get focused in a second. But how do you know it's a guy that's hitting home runs on the daggone street and you don't want him because he's black? We don't want him. We don't need him. or a guy that's pitching that says to the infield and the outfielders, y'all go sit down. We don't need you in the field. Satchel Paige, y'all don't want that because he's black. I don't get it, man. This thing called racism, I don't get it, right? But anyway, that's get focused. My wife probably saying focus, and my mother, I can't forget her. She probably said focus, right? And they both probably saying, don't forget you have a flight, right? So No, I'm good on time. Hey, y'all, tell them again, how did they get in touch with you?
Go ahead, Dr. Gibson. You go first.
At Christine Gibson on Facebook, at Big Hair Adventures, Instagram, Dr. Gibson 2020 at gmail.com. Dr. Gibson 2020 at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or you can Google me, like Kobie said, or just Google Christine's Big Hair Adventures.
That's right. Google, as they say, Google me.
Yes, we out here. Mine's is Kobie the Wiz. Take a look at my YouTube. You'll see what the work actually looks like for me. So just go to YouTube and type in Kobie the Wiz. Go to schools all across the country. If you want to get at me, email, please, just lkobiethewiz@gmail.com. That's the best way to get me. And then, like I said, check out lkobietheWizMath.com. We're getting ready to launch those summer intensives. So if you know a 2nd through 5th grader, get at them. Like I said, it's out here for them. We want to make sure that they get the good foundation. But yeah, that's how you get me. Check out my YouTube. You see how the work looks in schools. You'll see a lot of the comments. And then you can go to my website, lkobiethewiz.com, and you can see all the offerings that I have in regards to teachers, leadership, and students, music, storyteller, author visits, all the things. We out here in these streets. We outside trying to get inside your schools. That's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Holla at your boy. I'm ready to work. We're trying to help some people out here.
Big Hair Adventures on your shelves.
Yes.
There
We're trying to help these people out here.
Help us out. I'm gonna throw myself in there too. Help me out too. Right? let me come on in there and give a good word. Right.
That's it.
Hey, let me say, I want you to stay on when I go off camera. Okay. Hey, to the fam out there, you know I appreciate you every week. This was week number 215, and for anybody that's new, let me give you a better context. This was week 215 consecutively. I have not missed a Saturday since I started this the first Saturday in May 2020. It was only meant to be 18 weeks, but when I saw the numbers of people who were tuning in every week or watching the videos on YouTube later throughout the week, I said, man, how do I stop this? I can't stop it. And I kept it going. So here we are going into week number 216 next Saturday. So with that, join me next Saturday.
You can't just go past that, man. You gotta stop and pause right there. I don't think y'all understand. 215 consecutive.
I'm gonna make a noise.
Yeah.
I know, right?
That's include. Oh, and by the way, that's a deal. When Christmas was on a Saturday, we were on.
Because you are, listen, that's what I'm saying.
When New Year's Eve or New Year's Day was on a Saturday, we are on. Right? It doesn't matter. When it's my birthday in Jamaica, I'm on. Right? It doesn't matter. When Cancun said we got to charge you for the dedicated Wi-Fi $1,000, I paid it. And I said I needed a meeting room because I didn't like the setup of the guest room. They said we got to charge you $300. I had Zaretta Hammond on that week. I paid $1,300 to interview Zaretta Hammond. Right? So
that's commitment.
Yeah, that's commitment. Yeah. I mean, ain't nothing stopping me. Right. You know, it's whatever it is. So one of my guests was Seventh-day Adventist. She can't work on Saturday. So I said, okay, we'll record it. But then I said, but I'm going to at least come on and do my monologue live. And then we'll just hit the record, hit her video once I finish. So I was still on here live before I brought her up so that I don't break that string. Right. So, yeah, man.
It's a big deal.
Consecutive, not just 215. Consecutive.
It's
55. I'm in front of this camera. That's what I do. The clients say, Kafele, we want you to do a keynote on Saturday. I'll do it, but not doing 10:55 to 12:30 is one time. Schedule me either before or after, and that's what they do.
Or right now.
I need you to give me a room in the facility so that I don't have to be driving after the broadcast. So they give me a room. I do the broadcast. One client said, why don't you just do the broadcast with the live audience watching you do it? So we did that. Room full of a gymnasium
right now. I hope y'all taking some notes. He's teaching y'all something right now.
Yeah. I mean, once you commit to something, you got to stay committed to it. So when things come up, yeah, you got to stay with it, man. That's what it is. So that's it, man. I hope y'all understand that, man. I hope y'all understand. Cause see, like when them clients call, you know, they ain't calling to ask you to come speak for free.
Come on, man.
There's a paycheck coming along with that, and I have the audacity to say I'm coming, but
right,
you got to let me do this at 10:55, and I got to be logged on with my guests at 10:45, and I got to set up the studio at 10:30, right? So 10:30 till 12:30 to 1 o'clock, I'm not available, but I need you to give me some space in your building.
Come on.
No, that's right.
Yeah, so y'all see how that works? That's for the fam out there, man. Because so those of you trying to do your thing, you know, I'm just giving you this game for free, right? So listen, y'all. Hey, y'all, join me next week number 216. I got my man, Dr. Sean Woodley. He's the author of The League of Extraordinary Educators, and MC means move the class. So he and I, we're going to go one-on-one because he got them 2 books. So join me next Saturday at 10:55. And then, but before you join me, join Sean Hurt on Facebook Live at 10 o'clock. Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30 with Create and Educate. Then stay on and join me at 10:55. And then move over to Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern with Josh Tovar, PGP Podcast. Join me in Houston, July 9 and 10 at the School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. Go to principalkafele.com, scroll down to the announcements and hit the link, register. We're going to have a dynamite time. We always do. All right. 2 days. We're going to go from 9 to 3. We talk during lunch. We talk before the session. We talk after the session. You want to talk over dinner. We do that. You know, we get a little smaller groups and we just, you know, we talking leadership, right? It's just, that's what it's about. And then come back to Houston, July 18 through 21 for the Black Educators Rock Conference. Our president, Dr. Melissa Chester, has been on here for most of the sessions. So join us with that. I'll be doing a full day session on the last day, the 21st, on leadership again. So join us in Houston for both events. My books are on Amazon. I'm not going to list all them names again, but just put Baridi Kafele in the search bar and you'll see them. Subscribe to the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. I'm blessed with 21,200 subscribers. So make sure that you become the next one. And then also like and follow the AP and New Principals Academy Facebook page. I've been kind of lax with it because Sundays, man, I just haven't been up to writing my essays. But we're going to get back to it, y'all. We're going to get back to it, my commentaries. And then lastly, your diet.
Come on.
Make sure you let me tell y'all something. I'm out here in LA on the UCLA campus, and there's this, I didn't know about this until yesterday. There's this famous cookie store. It's cookies and ice cream. It's called, of all names, Diddy's something, right? I forget what the name of it. Some of y'all out there, hey, it's Stacey L. Joy. If you on here, I know you know, right? I know you know, Stacey. If you on here, it's called Diddy's Reese, the Crumble Cream Cookie Company. That line was wrapped around the corner. They said it's always like that. So my milking fam, we were all in there, and man, I wanted to eat up everything in there, but you know, I'm not supposed to do that. So I bought these 4 cookies. I'm teaching somebody now. I bought 2 peanut butter and I bought 2 chocolate chip. I'm teaching y'all. 3 of them cookies is in the garbage right over there. I said, I'll cheat on 1, but I ain't eating all 4. I like when I saw them, I'm like, oh my God.
You gotta take them home to the missus, man. She might want a cookie.
Yeah, I know, right? I said, because I was getting ready to eat one last night late. I said, nope. Put them in the garbage.
He said, nope.
You ain't supposed to be eating all them cookies. Right? Put them in the garbage. So I just ate the 1, man. So, you know, I'm teaching somebody. I'm type 2 diabetes, man. As much as we want all that, sometimes you got to condition yourself to say no.
Yeah.
I'm teaching somebody. I'm teaching. So make sure your diet's right, your exercise, get them miles in, and then whatever them viruses out there, make sure you're taking the necessary precautions. If you on that airplane, this is personal now. You on that airplane and you know you coughing, protect me. Throw your mask on, right? See, when I put on the mask, initially, primarily the mask is for me to protect you against me. But if you know you sick, you know you on that plane, you know we all in that little cylinder together, throw that mask on and protect me, because I got to do my work. I don't want some stranger, I never met you before, ain't never going to see you again in life, but you having this coughing storm on the plane, and now I got to suffer for that. Throw your mask on. And if you don't have one, ask the flight attendant. She'll give you one, or he'll give you one, right? Enough of that, y'all. Enough of that. I'm saying because somebody was near me coughing up a storm recently.
That was personal.
Yeah, that was personal. That was personal. Hopefully that person is on right now. All right, y'all. Hey, to the fam out there, appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you always. We see you next week at 10:55. But before we see you next week, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I see y'all next Saturday, man. Stronger than ever.